Hello everyone, it's Kai back today with a different kind of card for me, at least. I was lucky enough to get a Gemini foil press for my birthday, and I've made a couple of things with it so far, and this is the first time though that I've used the Picket Foiled Impressions Peony. Just a beautiful impression and die that it ends up making, but I readily admit that when I started out I wasn't sure how it was going to turn out, and I didn't go looking at any cards that were done because I didn't want any of that to sway my own creativity. I usually don't look at other cards until after I've completed the first card on, and usually with anything that I've got. So I heated up the foil press for the allotted time. The buzzer goes off, and I had the die on the plate until it came to temperature. And now, because this is a relatively big die, I'm setting it to low temperature for 45 seconds. And here I didn't put you through all that. And once it gets down to this point, you release it from the foil press and run it through your Gemini, in my case Junior, and all the beauty comes out at the other end. So I didn't move my Gemini. There's no point in doing that. Not enough room to have the foil press and the Gemini here. In any event, there we are. So you remove the protective cover. I'm sure it has a name. And that's the foiled image. And when I took it off, I went, oh my God, it's gorgeous. So you don't throw away your negatives. There's something more that you can do with those, and I'm collecting them, so I'll be doing a video on what I did with the leftovers. I see I have a little bit of overflow of the foil, but once I die cut it pretty well, took all of that off. So now I'm just going to add some color to the peony. I'm using my Copics in shades of pink. And I just realized I can't see anything, so I need to put on my proper glasses for this. So excuse the interruption. So I started out with, I'm using RV 11, 13, and 14 for this part here. Starting out with the RV 11. And I do a flicking kind of motion with Copics. I am not by any means good at using Copics. I just use them in how I think the flower would look best. There is blending, but there's blending in everything that you do. So that's basically how I treat the Copics as well. So I start off with the lightest color and move on to the darkest color, and going back with the lightest color after every addition of darker colors. So does that make any sense? So here it doesn't do you much good because you can't see. It's very light, actually, this RV11. It's a very light color. It's quite nice, and I really like it with the red. I used red foil paper, in case you can't tell. But I really like it with the red. So I think it's gonna, I was thinking as I was doing this, I think this is gonna look good. And I was very pleased at the end. So this is, even though I'm doing this process, I'm leaving a bit in so that you can see what I do. I'm sure there's people who do something entirely different. And if they're Copic, like Debbie Olson, I mean, I just don't even come close. But they're fun to try and play with and get a little bit of use out of them. I don't have all the colors, obviously. I pick colors that I think would look nice blended together, and I will buy those 3. I usually buy in sets of 3. So here I've moved on to the RV 14 or 13. That's the RV 13. And so it's a medium pink. And again, I'm doing the flicking motion, starting at the bottom and just flicking up. I'll go over this again with the RV 11. And then I come back in with the RV 14. Go over it again with the RV 11. And I also add, towards the end, you'll see just a bit of R27 and R46. They're deeper reds. I add them to the base of the flower to get a little bit more depth. I don't color all of the white either. I leave bits of that showing on the flower. If you'll notice, when you look at flowers in real life, they fade out almost to a white. So I finished it. I've added the darker colors in there. You can see the shine a bit. Oh, and I say to myself, oh, you missed a bit. But you can see the shine of the red foil. It's quite pretty. I quite like it. I can see a lot of uses for this. I was thinking of actually, if I wasn't doing a clean and simple card, I would have done a bouquet of 3 different colors. But I'm actually waiting. I've ordered some more foils, so I'm waiting for them to come before I do that. So now I'm going to move on to, I want to add some paste, a stencil work paste to my card base. And I'm using Ranger's textured opaque matte paste for this. People have asked me, how do you get your paste always so smooth? And I use this small tool, as you can see. I was going to call it a spatula. But I always use a small one. I find I end up getting too much on when I use the larger one. I do use the larger one, but it's for other applications. But for this kind of thing, I use a small one. And that seems to work perfectly for me. I can get little bits filled in and add, like you see there, quite a chunk of paste. But by the time I work it into the paper in between the stencil, I pretty well use all of that up. And I always go over my stencil at the end to smooth it all out. This gets excess paste off. And I'm running my knife down just a bit of on a bit of an angle to pick up any leftovers. That's all I do. It's nothing fancy with that. In any event, I take the stencil off, and I like to get that in the sink as soon as possible so it won't stay attached to my stencil. The paste can be really awful to get off if you've let it dry on the stencil, as we all know. Anyway, I've got a fan running over my desk here, so that was drying while I went and washed the stencil off. So it's almost dry at this point. There's a little bit of moisture left in it, which is perfect for me to add some Nouveau Aqua Pen in a lemon zest color to the somewhat leaf-like part of the stencil. It goes on really nice and smoothly. I quite like the look, and I certainly like the look of the finished card, so I thought that was a nice touch to the card. Give it a little bit more movement and more texture. I have several colors of these Nouveau Aqua Flow pens, and I love them. I've watercolored with them. I've done all kinds of things with them. Put them on as here with brush to whatever I'm doing. Use them with added water, like a watercolor. Added them in with some other kind of like brushos. I added some of the shimmering pens in with brushos, so I've used them for quite a few different things. In any event, this is my finished product, my finished card, and I hope you like it. And if you do, you'll give me a thumbs up and check back. I'll have some more videos coming up in the next little while. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.